Hi guys, welcome to BobzyBounce. Today we've got another interesting person in the podcast, as always, but today we've got a fighter, a true fighter. Yeah. So today we've got Qais. How doing, bro?
Not bad, you?
Yeah, all good. So we've got you on because obviously you're like a very inspiration, like inspiring person to the Asian community and overall just to England. But like, I mean, just a bit of background. Obviously, Qais is a boxer, professional boxer, aren't you?
Yeah.
But I know we're going to go into like, going backwards and how you got into it and stuff like that. But mainly, we want to talk about the next fight that's coming up. So we want to start with that.
Yeah.
So just tell us how all of that came about, this next fight that you're about to have, which is what date as well, by the way.
Yeah, so the fight's July 15th, which is 4 weeks away from now. It's for the British title, super featherweight, which is a weight I'm going up for, against a guy called Liam Dillon from London. Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to going.
What's his track record like at the moment?
So he's undefeated. I think he's 12-0.
12-0?
12-0, yeah.
How many by knockout?
A couple, 3-4 maybe.
Because let's be honest, right? I don't know if this is just me, but whenever I'm watching a boxing match, I don't care about who won on points. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
That does show how much of a good boxer you are. Fine, fair enough. Yeah. Oh yeah, this guy's tactical, whatever. But we want to see a knockout.
Yeah, of course. 100%.
So how many have you had?
5 or 6.
Sorry, how many fights have you had? Sorry.
I've had about same actually 13 I've had 13.
13. And how many won by knockout?
5 or 6, something like that.
Okay, explain this right. What's more satisfying? Going the full long way or that?
With the full distance, it's the experience more than anything. Whereas, listen, if you can knock someone out in the first round and not have to go the rest of the rounds, then you can't go wrong, can you?
You can't go wrong, yeah.
So you feel like you grow as a boxer then, like if you
yeah.
go the
So for example, if say I've never done a 10-round fight before, for example, if it's my first 10 round, I'll go in there. I might be a bit nervous about the rounds, not so much the opponent, but when you go through the experience, you realise that I can do the 10 rounds. Because it's 10 rounds. Doing 10 rounds in the gym is different to on the night. I was saying to you before, there's a lot of nerves, a lot of emotion involved in the
crowd.
It was a crowd in a fight. But yeah, it's all about the experience, because experience is one of them things. They say you can't buy it, you can't pretend you've got it. You've got to go through it to get it, and that's one of those things that you need to go through.
Yeah. So are you a Southpaw, aren't you?
Southpaw,
yeah. Southpaw, yeah. So like, explain to the viewers what is Southpaw.
So Southpaw actually, traditionally, is someone who's left-handed.
Yeah.
But I'm actually right-handed, believe it or not. It's just something I did over. So when I was a kid, I think I was about 15, maybe younger. I broke my elbow, weirdly enough, playing football somehow.
On a left arm?
In my left arm, yeah.
Okay.
And that was obviously at that point I was still Orthodox on my jab arm.
Yeah.
But I was one of them kids. I was always very active. Even I had a pot on my arm, but I was still in the gym. I went to spar. And obviously, once the pot came off, I realised I can't throw it. I can't hit no one with that hand, so I can't throw it yet. And I thought the closest hand to my opponent is my right. If I switch southpaw, it's my right hand. So I started going southpaw. Noticed instantly that no one likes fighting southpaws.
You know what?
Instantly, I noticed that.
We don't know much about. I don't know much about boxing, but I've noticed that a lot of people, they don't. They find a bit like the whole stance is.
It's a bit more awkward for them, I guess.
Yeah.
And literally since that day, it stayed southpaw. Learn a lot more southpaw. Just like I noticed straight away that people didn't like it. Alhamdulillah, like I say, before I first went southpaw, I'd won 2 national titles, Orthodox.
Okay.
And then won plenty of national titles after that.
Yeah.
In southpaw as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, because it's a whole different like. It's like when because I've seen it like, and I've heard interviews of people as well, and they don't like to admit it, but in so many words they do say it. Yeah. They find it a bit awkward.
It is something, I guess, it's weird because it's something that people aren't used to, maybe, because most people, but these days you see a lot more southpaws, but back then at least most people Orthodox, so mainly right-handed.
Yeah.
And I think statistics-wise around the world in West, there's more right-handed people than left-handed people.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And that's why the people are used to fighting right-handed fighters. As soon as you switch that, it's the opposite signals, the opposite side, and it kind of scrambles their head.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously the person that's going to be fighting, they're going to obviously spar with the person who is southpaw, yeah? But the thing is, sparring with the person who you've now been sparring with for the last few weeks, and then you kind of understand their style, but then they're going to come and fight you, okay? It's basically the first time they're fighting this person on a night. It's a whole different experience altogether. And you're going to have a very different technique to the sparring partner. And that person in the ring then has to adapt to that. They have to adapt, but at the same time of adapting, they have to make sure they don't get knocked out. Right?
Like I say, you can spar as much as you want with different, I'm Southpaw for example, he can spar all he wants with other Southpaws, but what are the chances of getting that exact style that I've got?
Exactly.
You're not going to get it here.
Same mentality, same style, everything.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, so it's quite a bit of a tricky thing. So in terms of your achievements, so I know you've won, is it just one medal at the Commonwealth Games?
I won actually Commonwealth Youth Games.
Yeah.
I won a gold medal.
Oh wow, okay.
Senior Commonwealth Games, which were in Glasgow in 2014. I won a silver.
And you were representing
that was classed as Team England. That was.
Oh, Team England.
Team England, yeah.
And what about the Olympics? Did you manage to get anywhere?
Olympics, I boxed in the Rio 2016 Olympics for Team GB.
2016, yeah.
But before that, I'd boxed for Team GB for 8 years, winning medals all over the world.
So you got a pretty comprehensive CV, didn't you?
Like I said, I boxed all over the world for Team GB, Olympics, Worlds, Europeans, Commonwealths. I boxed basically everywhere around the world over the years with Team GB.
But another thing as well, Qais, I've noticed, with a lot of people, and I've seen that they've got a really good scope to move forward, but injuries have killed them. Have you ever had a severe injury which you thought, that's it, I'm done now?
I wouldn't say it was so bad that I'd say I'm done, but I didn't even we mentioned Olympics for example. I got to prelims, but I was literally one-handed. And it came to a point where I had that my tendon. I had a split in my tendon.
And this is your dominant hand, by the way.
This is my left hand, so it's my backhand. Basically, I went into that fight one-handed.
So no haymakers.
I'll try my best with my right hand.
But luckily for you, you're right-handed.
Yeah, but like I said, but at top level, you need both hands. That's the thing, because these are the people that fight in the Olympics, are the elite, the amateurs. But like I said, I ended up having it operated on straight after the Olympics. The reason I didn't do it before is because there was too short a time window. It was either I go to the Olympics, Team GB, all that sort of stuff, box on the pinnacle of amateur boxing, or and risk it, or I have an operation and don't go on.
So you actually went into the fight
basically one I did. I remember hitting the back pads with the GB.
And did your coach know about this?
He knew that I had a bad hand, obviously because the physio's there.
But did he didn't know the extent of it?
I think to an extent he did, but he knew I wasn't going to miss the Olympics. So Paul Walmsley, I was hitting the pads with him, and he could see. I think he could see my face wincing every time I'd throw that shot. And he goes, I remember saying to me, "It's hurting, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah, it's killing me, but I've got to do what I've got to do." And obviously, he tried to reassure me, saying, "Listen, don't worry about it. When you go in there, the adrenaline will take over." But
who did you fight with that?
Guy from Thailand, good fighter, a guy that I'd battered before. That was the headache of it, but just lost some points in a close fight, really. But
you lost some points, no?
Yeah.
But obviously, if you were in 100%,
like say someone that I'd sparred before, I knew for a fact I'd beat him on my best day. But
the worst thing is,
the
worst thing is, even with the hand, it went the whole way.
Yeah, went the whole way.
And so I'm guessing the pain got progressively worse. Worse. So I bet when you took your glove off at the end of it, your hand
it came to a point where I could not throw it without any pain. And because I had split my tendon, my finger was like that, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
So the first point of contact was that tendon. It was horrible.
So have you got full mobility in the hand and everything?
Yeah, perfect now.
Everything okay.
Once it was operated on.
Yeah, so injuries is probably the worst thing.
Yeah.
You can actually come across stuff like that.
It's like if you really go to the gym, if you get injury, that's where you're out for a week, 2 weeks, you know what I mean? So if you're like a professional boxer, you need that hand constantly to fight.
See, as a fighter as well though, even when you do get injuries, like for example when I had the Olympics coming up, I can't take 2 weeks off. I need to get ready for the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
I was trying to work around it and all that sort of stuff, but alhamdulillah for everything, what's meant to be is always going to be.
Yeah, that's it. So like when you're fighting, like for example, you're Southpaw, could you fight Orthodox as well at the same time? Like switch it around. Yeah.
I've always been able to switch it. I've not been doing it as much in recent years, but I'm more than capable of doing it.
Yeah. So just to confuse, just confuse the fighters.
It's all about, you were talking about boxing before. It's a chess game.
Yeah.
You need to understand that you want to try to do something that that guy's not going to expect, because if you do what you normally do, like for example the guy that I'm fighting, if I do what I normally do, he's expecting that. He's going to do whatever he can to combat that.
Yeah.
But if you do something different, is there anything? Wait,
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
If you can get the mind games going and beat it mentally as well, it makes fight a lot easier.
Because like, what was I say is, you know, you want to change your styles as well. Sometimes, you know, just when you're in the fight, you want, because like I said, you want to confuse the fighter.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, change your style now. Like I thought, like for somebody if you fought someone before, you would change your style. Like they keep switching the styles. They get a bit confused. Like, oh shit, you know what I mean? That's why sometimes you win the game, because you know it's a man fuck basically. You know.
Exactly. People don't realise how mental boxing is as well as physical. Mental plays a massive part.
Yeah.
Huge part.
Because also you need the heart as well to be fighting. You know,
there's a lot of aspects that go into boxing.
Yeah, it's not everyone can do boxing.
Yeah, but it's not just. I was having a chat with Kes in the car, and I'll sit over here. There's also basically like back in the days, like, you know, when Amir Khan was on top of his game, right? And I had guys that used to go, you know, just work with me, right? And I used to work in a call centre. Oh, yeah, I'll bang Amir Khan, right? I'll bang him out, yeah. And then my simple question was this: what do you do for a living? I work here, innit? And what do you do here? I answer calls. I'm like, yeah, for 8 hours in a day, you answer calls. I said, that guy trains in the gym for probably 8 hours a day. I said, come on, man. Yeah, but you know what? Like, he's skinner and I can do it.
It doesn't matter, man.
You can't do it.
See, like I said to you in the car, most people don't realise this until they actually go to a boxing gym or MMA gym or some sort of combat sport gym and try it themselves. Most people can't punch for longer than 15, 20, 30 seconds, if that. What are they going to do after that?
You know what I mean? Done, finished.
So my next fight is a 12-round fight. 3 minutes a round, a minute rest. They'd be done in what? The first 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
no, but the thing is, it's not only that. It's like now you need to think. So, for example, let's say you're on the 10th round. Okay, now fatigue's kicked in. Right, you're tired as hell. Okay, you're knackered. You still need to think straight. That listen, I need to beat this guy. You need to also think I need to defend myself as well, because if I start just throwing wild punches, he's going to connect one. I'm going to be on the floor. I'm going to lose the fight. You got the crowd egging you on. You know, there's just so many things, emotions. You know, your physical aspect, the mental aspect. Bloody hell, it's like, you know, when I think about this right now, because I'm like obviously an adult and I look at it from a different perspective, it's a lot to take on. It's a lot of pressure on those two guys. So much pressure, and people don't understand this.
100%. Like you say, it's that, especially that second half of the fight, it's very mental, and if you break down mentally, you're gonna lose the fight.
You think, oh shit, I'm tired, I'm knackered, oh shit, I'm fucked. And that's when I take over you, then your brain is not basically shut down. You're like, you know what, I'm done.
Well, my coach always says that. He always says, listen, if you can do 8 rounds, you can do 12. You can do 10. You can do 12.
Yeah.
Because that last bit of the fight is mental. Them championship rounds.
But this might be very like a personal thing, but like, you know, like when you're like, you know, you're going for the long stretch, so you're going for the 12 rounds thing, right? And now let's say, because when does it kick in? Like, when does the fatigue and the tiredness kick in for you?
Fatigue, obviously it depends on how the fight's going, but
yeah, of course,
it can. Generally kicks in between, in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, and that's normally like for all fighters pretty much, right?
Yeah,
because their weight is the same, so their stamina level, everything probably the same, because you're very well matched. But like, what do you do psychologically while you're in that space, in your headspace? What do you do to carry on?
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, no, but the
you know what it is, like you mentioned the heart before.
Yeah.
A fighter, no matter what condition they're in, however they feel, they're not quitting. A real fighter will not quit. And again, you hear from time to time, obviously, coach have to protect the fighter and all that sort of stuff. But mentally, it's drilled into you from the training. Like my coach Lee Beard, for example, he's very good at the mental side of stuff as well. He'll train me, the way he trains me, he goes to a lot of mental aspects. Like, he'll train me sometimes. He'll say, okay, this many rounds left, blah blah, but it won't be. That just means there's that many rounds in that certain thing we're doing. We'll go again and again and again. And what he's doing there is mentally, he's trying to break you, just to see if you break.
Yeah.
And when you don't, and when you keep pushing forward, that's what he wants to see. See, that's like I said, boxing is a very mental game as well, and especially in them championship rounds, like I say, it's very important to be strong mentally. And like I say, alhamdulillah, I've got a very good coach in my corner as well, who understands that and knows how to combat that. And even on the night, he knows how to. He knows the right strategies and the right ways to make you react and to make you push more, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So. Alhamdulillah, I'm in a great position.
No, it seems like you've got a really good team behind you, and obviously, you know, talent goes a long way. And you know, actually, you're a very talented boxer. I've seen the fights, and if you haven't seen the clips, guys, you need to go on YouTube and you can find them all there. And you know what? I do want to kind of, I mean, I will go into another thing. So what's your mentality like as you're going into the ring? I'll give you an example, right? Why I'm asking a question. So Mike Tyson, yeah, crazy fighter there was back in the days. And I don't mean crazy as in he was an amazing fighter, but I mean the crazy individual that he was.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
People don't know, but this guy was,
He
he was off it, mad guy. And he used to say that I used to go into the ring in my head thinking that I'm back in ancient Rome and I'm a gladiator and I'm going into like the Colosseum and I'm about to have a fight.
Yeah.
And he goes, I used to go with that mentality, and he goes, then that's what used to kind of get me through it. So I'm presuming yours probably isn't that to that extent.
So Mike Tyson, sorry, mention Mike Tyson again. He literally, the way he used to go in, he used to wear no socks.
Okay.
Just so he felt more like a gladiator.
Yeah.
At least used to.
Maybe you've heard that, haven't you?
Yeah, that exact quote. But he used to also wear no socks.
So is that why you don't wear socks either?
No, I wear socks. I wear socks. But no, like I say, he also at the start of that quote, that scene that he's Mike Tyson mentioned. He also mentions how at the start how nervous he is. From the start. But the closer he gets to that ring, the more he pumps himself up, believes himself, blah blah. And that's where it always starts for me. The only time I really get nervous is in the changing room. And if I'm not, I feel like there's something wrong.
Okay.
Because them nerves, that feeling that I'm getting, that's what keeps me sharp and makes me feel like I'm ready to go in the ring.
So so you feel like the nerves is a good thing then, basically.
100%, because it keeps me sharp. Make sure I'm on it, and mentally, is as well as physically, it makes sure I'm on my game. But like I say, as you walk the ring, like you probably heard it many times before. I'm not sure how many boxes or anything like that. But as soon as that first ball goes, them nerves are gone. It's weird. It's just weird how it works.
Yeah.
I always got told about it before I started boxing, but then you realise, you know what? It's weird how it works. But as soon as that first ball goes,
it's like game time.
Game time,
exactly.
yeah.
Focus on the mission, which is
You've
to
got a job at hand.
Yeah.
You've got your coach next to you, drilling it into your ears what you need to do, and that's what you need to go out there and execute. And that's sort of my mentality. I like to have them nerves at first, but I go in there confident. You know, I've got to go in there confident and believe in my own ability, and that I can get the job done.
What would you say is the best advice you've got from like a professional, like a professional fighter? There must be somebody who's given you like a good pointer which you implement in your boxing right now and your style and everything that you use. Because you know a lot of boxers, right? Obviously,
that's the thing. There'll be so many things.
And you know, like some like big, prime prize fighters as well will be
of course.
top of the game. Even recently. Yeah. So would you say that you've had any like good bit of advice off any of them?
Advice-wise.
Or are you too egoistical to even ask for advice?
No.
Listen, mate, I don't need advice.
No, listen. I'm a very
humble guy.
Humble person in that sense. Yeah. But in terms of advice, there's nothing that I can think that actually stood out for me. Is obviously, as you go on in the sport yourself, you notice, even though everyone tells you and warns you of this, how much of a business professional boxing is. But obviously in the amateurs, it's a sport. You go in there, you do what you do. And you can enjoy it more, whereas it becomes a lot more of a business when you go into the pro game.
Yeah.
And I've suffered that side a little bit myself, but like I say, there's little things that you learn over time, and I'm not pushing on now, and I'm looking forward to winning this British title, inshallah.
Well, you're gonna smash this one, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm quite confident, but like this is what we're to pick up on. So with all so you said you lost one fight. Okay, I've seen that fight. Okay, and I need to make it very clear. There's a moment in that fight where you get a punch, okay? My God, you took that punch like a flipping champ. Honestly, that punch would...
I don't like taking punches, by the way.
No, I know you don't, but like there's... Guys, if you haven't checked that fight out, you need to check it on YouTube, right? It's the one where obviously you lost. But there's a point in that... I think you got dropped twice, didn't you, in that fight?
Technically, yeah, but once.
But I know that
one was a push, but
that one punch that you got, you know which one I'm on about, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
It was like an overhand punch or whatever.
Yeah, overhand. Yeah.
Oh my God! And like anybody else, they'd be gone. They'd be like, well, what's the term in Friday? Knock the fuck out. Yeah, you would be out. But you just went, shook it off.
Yeah, got straight back up. Yeah.
Right. So like how I know you've only had one loss. How did you deal with it?
See, with that fight as well, it was in terms of making weight, I was weight draining that fight.
Okay.
So really, a shot like that with weight draining, it should have been the end, really.
Well, so when was that fight announced?
So in terms of the opponent, I had 10 days. I think 10 days or 2 weeks notice for that fight.
Oh, it's like lastminute.com kind of thing.
Literally. But it was in COVID. I'd not fought for a year or so, maybe just over a year.
So how much?
Just had a son as well.
Oh my God. Okay.
You know, in terms of money, funds, I'm thinking, okay, I need to get back on it. I know opportunities come, I'm taking it. And again, that's a fighter in me. But I always say this: I never lost to anyone who's better than me.
No, how much weight did you have to lose for that fight? And by the way, you lost it in about how long? 10 days.
Yeah.
10 days prior.
Well, about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
But bear in mind, I can't remember how much I lost exactly, but this puts it into perspective, right? So I've got a fight coming up in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got just under a stone to get off.
Yeah.
Right. And that fight, then I had to make a weight 4 kilos, even less than that.
Wow.
So just under maybe 2 stone.
In 2 weeks.
The weight was slowly coming down anyway. My weight wasn't as heavy as it is now, but yeah, like I said, but putting the weight aside.
No, but it's the mental prep though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like for example, like this fight, how long have you had to prep for this fight? When did it get announced and everything?
Give or take. Once the fight comes up, give or take 12 weeks.
Yeah, there you go, right? So you've got 12 weeks, right, worth of literally, you can basically mentally prepare yourself, get the right training and whatever. This one, I mean, it's not just the fact that it was like a lastminute.com kind of thing. You've just had a child, so, it's the first child and, you're all happiness and emotions. It's during COVID, when all countries on really lockdown. And then I'm sure there were other things going on at the same time, right? Obviously, you said that you pretty much had the fight because you need to make the money as well.
Yeah, of course. I had a child to take care of now.
Exactly.
I had different responsibilities.
Yeah, so the financial situation wasn't great. So everything was all against you. So what about a rematch?
You know what, I've been calling out for that rematch for years now. He's never going to fight me again, but...
It's just like, no now.
No chance.
See,
like I said, because I sparred this guy loads of times before.
Oh, right, okay.
So I was surprised he took the fight in the first place. And again, to be fair, the reason I took the fight was because it was opportunity, first of all. And I'm always in the gym anyway. So I wasn't really unfit.
Yeah.
But obviously, 2 weeks for a opponent like him, it was very awkward. I just needed more time. And like I say, taking the weight out of it, that I made the weight. At the end of the day, however I made it, that's not an issue. But there was loads of issues in the camp and around the camp, and being forced into a fight which really I shouldn't have really even had to take, because that was really meant to be a little takeover fight. But then this opponent came on 2 weeks' notice. But like I said, we don't dwell on the old things. We don't make no excuses. The whole point I want that. I've always wanted that rematch, is just to prove to everyone.
But you learned from this though as well.
Yeah, of course. But again, that's when I noticed the business side, and that's when I was I was in that position where I never wanted to be in, on the business side of stuff. But like I say, I moved forward. The reason I wanted the rematch was because I can beat him and just prove to everyone that it wasn't the fighter, it was just around the fight. But
see, unfortunately, right? What's the name of the individual who fought after him? Can you remember?
Ashley Lane.
Okay, I feel sorry for him now.
Who last night just won English title.
Yeah, but I feel bad for him. You know why? Because you got annoyed at the last loss.
Yeah, right. You tell the fight.
Right, yeah, and that guy got the full brunt of it. Yeah. Poor guy. I'm not saying that he's not a bad fighter. He's a very good fighter, right? But you gave it like it was like a personal thing. Yeah. Like you got someone to prove. No, but the thing is, though, that's what happens, isn't it? It's natural human behavior. Because now you're like annoyed that shit, I should have lost that fight, right? This next fight, I'm gonna flip and go guns blazing, which you did. And the poor guy, right? It's not a personal thing, but it was, unfortunately, he is the opponent. Yeah. So he literally got it the worst.
You see, that date as well, I think it was about 6 weeks off after that fight that lost. Yeah. So it was fresh anyway. But what people don't know is, when we were first given that opponent with that 2 weeks notice, we said to him, listen, this day's coming up. We'll fight him on that day. Give us 6 weeks to train. No, 6 to 8 weeks to train. So that's all we need for the fight like this. Yeah. And I wasn't given the opportunity. But like I say, Ashley Lane, before I boxed him, I think a fight before, or 2 fights before, he boxed for the British title. He'd had the Commonwealth title for about 2-3 years until that point, because he lost to the British champion at the time, and that title got taken away from him. And then, like I say, he boxed me, and since then he's had 2 fights. After boxing me, that he's won both. And last night, it's his 3rd fight, and he won an English title.
So he's doing well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Has he ever called you out for a rematch?
No.
I think
one of them fights,
I think a rematch is on the table at the moment.
With Ashley Lane?
Yeah.
No, he's experienced with it.
No, but hang on, because what title has he got? The British.
He's got English.
The English, yeah.
English.
But
It's one below the British.
But he won that.
It's below the British. Inshallah, when it's British, there's no point.
Oh, so hang on, the fight that you're
And
fighting.
plus, he's now weight below me as well.
Oh, okay. So what title are you fighting for at the moment? Sorry.
British super featherweight title.
Which is a big, a
Yeah,
much higher level than.
yeah.
Yeah, you're not even in that league anymore, man.
But bear in mind, I'm going up a weight for this fight, like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's now Ashley Lane now. He's 2, maybe 3 weights below.
How do you feel with going up the weight? Have you fought this weight before?
Good, yeah. No, first time having a competitive fight at the weight. I only moved to featherweight last year, which is a weight above I won my title, for example. But this opportunity came up, and we were like, you know what? Again, fighting. I'm a fighter, man. I boxed all my life. I've been boxing for 22 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
Boxed for that long, and it's in me, I guess, now. And as soon as the opportunity came, my new manager, Lee Eaton, with Let's Go Management, he came to me with a proposition.
Where are they based, this Let's Go Management?
Ipswich, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, over there. And as soon as it came up with the opportunity, I snapped it up as quick as a click of a finger.
Because a lot of people I've seen that they kind of struggle, when they go up a weight. They struggle a lot because obviously now.
See, but you have to understand, the thing is, at super bantamweight, where I won my first title, no one will fight me. Featherweight, I just moved there. It seems again like no one will fight me. So I've had to move again to super featherweight now, which I finally got an opportunity. And respect to Liam Dillon. To be fair, he was the mandatory for the British title, and his opponent pulled out.
Okay.
And he didn't really have a choice to fight me or not. It was just the next fight, because even though I was a featherweight, my manager Lee Eaton, he spoke to the British board, and they put the fight forward. Said, yeah, perfect. That's the sort of opponent we need.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I understand, Qais, yeah. Like, why do these boxers always kind of say, I don't want to fight this fight? I don't understand. Like, if you're a fighter, if you're a boxer, yeah, you should be willing to fight anyone.
See, these days, right?
I really don't get it.
I'm sure you'd have seen it yourself. It's all people want to be boxers, but just by name. They want all the clout, they want all the celebrity status, they want all the followers on Instagram, but they don't want real fights.
Real fights, yeah.
And without the real fights, you're not going to get nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Because with you, I've noticed you're like, yeah, I'll fight, whatever, cool.
100%. 100%.
And you're not.
I'm one of the people that look like. So I moved management early the start of this year.
Oh, who were you with before?
So I was with 258 Management, which is Anthony Joshua's team.
Oh, okay, Anthony Joshua's team.
So I've come to Lee Eaton, and he'll tell, if you ever come across him, he'll tell you himself. I'm talking to him before I even sign with him about names that no one wants to fight, and I'm like, I'll fight him tomorrow. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to make up numbers. I want to fight. I want to fight big names. I want to get to the top. And I think that's why he was so excited about signing me, because, like I say, straight away, my first fight with him was for a British title against a guy who was a weight above me, who was undefeated. I've taken it like that.
Yeah.
And again, these days you don't see that as often, and it's sad really, because where you're going to get in the sport if you're not going to challenge.
No, but it's true. No, but you know what? It kind of makes sense what you're saying. That everybody wants the clout, they want the glory,
100%.
right? And they kind of pick and choose their fighters. And don't get me wrong. Listen, Mayweather, probably the greatest boxer of all time, right? Statistically, okay. I mean, I don't agree that he is the best. I mean, I'm not really too keen on his style. But the thing is, I think he did a lot of pick and choosing.
But he's still fighting world champions though. He's not fighting nobody's. He got up there the hard way first.
Yeah, I mean,
and then he got himself in a position where he could choose it.
Yeah.
Whereas these people, they're still there.
Still there, and
they don't even want to get there before they choose these.
It's an opportunity for that fighter to be able to fight you.
Exactly.
Because then it's more. Then it's not a fight anymore. It's a business.
Exactly.
I mean, at that level, like how much did Pacquiao make from when he fought him? Probably.
I'm not sure exactly, but
let's say it was 100 million, which I'm sure is not far off that figure. Yeah. At the end of the day,
exactly.
Win or lose, who cares, man?
But like we mentioned the word prize fighter. That's what Mayweather. That's the position he put himself in, to be in a position where he can choose fights. Whereas, like I said, some of these people that you see now, they're not even getting there. They just want to stay there in a little comfort zone.
Yeah.
Get a few followers, get a bit of clout. He's a professional boxer, but don't want to fight nobody.
So what you're saying is that Mayweather kind of went through the mud.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so he went up the ranks. 100%. He wasn't like, he didn't pick and choose to begin with. He showed his talent, and then when he got to the top, then
100%.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's not easy winning a world title.
Yeah.
And you've probably seen pictures of how many he's got home. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? So there you go. He's
Well,
got to the top first.
Yeah, he got it off first. I mean, what he's been able to achieve, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be able to achieve that.
100%.
Was it 50 fights?
Yeah, 50.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
50, something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of them were a bit, I mean, he's only ever been really hurt once. All of his fights. I think he like seriously kind of hurt. He only got hurt kind of once. But like, but yeah, I want to talk about the. Oh, we should have started off with this, but we didn't. What made you get into this?
So my cousin, Adnan, he's used to box before me. He's about 6 years older than me.
Okay.
Maybe a bit more actually. But so he used to fight. I was only a baby then, must have been like 5, 6 years old. And he used to come back. I've got older brothers, I'm the youngest of 5, you see. And they used to go to his fights and that sort of stuff. I was a bit too young, but he used to go to his fights, come back, tell me about his fights. I'd go to his house, see his little trophies that he's got from the fights. He'd hear all about it. And his dad, my uncle, he must have noticed at some point that...
Sorry, you grew up in Leeds, didn't you, obviously?
Leeds,
Yeah,
yeah.
Leeds.
So he must have realised at some point, my uncle, that I'm very interested. I always come over, I love seeing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he said to me, when you turn the right age, I'll take you to the gym. I think when he said that, must have been about 6 maybe. Maybe 7, around yeah, about 6, 7 year old. Then after that, I forgot all about it. Yeah. I was 8 years old at this point now. It was just before I turned 8. I think, a couple of weeks after my birthday. He turned up to my house. He talked to my mum. I can hear him, don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I see mum going, no, he's not going there.
No.
Turns out what they're talking about is that my uncle would take him to the boxing gym. But I ended up coming to my mum. My dad came with my mum a little bit as well. And like I say, I went there around 8 years old and I just loved it. I loved the atmosphere, I loved the hard work. I remember the first session I did, the coach I was training with, Martin Bates, and he said, you know what, this kid's got a bit of natural talent, keep him coming. And after that, I was always the first in the gym, last one out. And I just loved it. At first, it was just the atmosphere. I loved the atmosphere. I loved being around the lads. I used to have a good laugh with the lads as well. And then at some point, it came to a point where the coach goes to me, you want to start sparring? I can't remember how long this was in, but I laughed. I thought, what am I going to spar for? I'm just, enjoying myself sort of thing. When I got sparring, I get noticed that, I'm quite good at this. I'm sparring and I'm taking on the instructions, I'm doing everything right, I'm winning the spars, so to speak. And then maybe 6 months after that, he goes, right, you've been doing brilliant, you've got your first fight coming up. Again, I'm laughing at your first fight, you're mad, you know what I mean? I'm just enjoying myself, I'm a kid, you know what I mean? So at this point, this must have been about, I think on my first fight, just before I turned 11, or just when I turned 11, I was like, we'll give it a go, why not, we'll give it a go. Got in there, won my first fight, loved it, enjoyed it massively, and I got out and all I realised it was kind of a natural progression after that. It was all like, say, all sounds very natural, spar, or you've got a fight coming up. It was all very natural. Yeah. Before you know it, you're hooked into the sport and you're thinking, wow, what would I do without it? Yeah. And you notice over the years, you get older, the bad stuff has kept you away from, kept you out off the street. People that you know are getting in trouble week in, week out, or getting in really bad trouble with the police or anything like that. It's always kept me away from that. And like I say, in a sense, I owe a lot to boxing, and just to keep me on the right path. And alhamdulillah, like I say, the humble person I am, it comes from 2 things: my parents and boxing. Because boxing is one of them sports that, don't get me wrong, you get a lot of people that act like they're not humble, but if you actually meet boxers, they're generally lovely guys.
So would you say the actual boxing humbles you as a person?
100%.
Like when you're in a ring?
Put it this way, right? You're thinking of the business, right? I've seen it plenty of times in the gym. Thinking of the business, you go in there and you spar someone and you get battered. If that's not going to humble you, what else is going to humble you? Yeah. Simple as that.
100%, yeah. So like, when did you start taking it more seriously? Like,
so it's mad this when I think about it. I've told you before. I won, I think, 2 national titles. So I won the English title twice. Yeah. And I think a GB title as well. So I won the Great British title. And then I started fighting for England. But it took me 2 national titles to even realise that I was quite good at this.
Yeah.
Imagine when you think about that. But after the first national title, I thought, okay, maybe I just fluked it.
Yeah.
I think
And again. I was thinking, wow.
Yeah.
After the second time, I realised.
The funny thing is, any of the person that win the first national, they'll be like, you know what?
I'm a BobzyBounce now.
Yeah.
Again, that's where,
and you were like,
but again, that's probably where my upbringing, my parents, they brought me up well, but I was never.
Yeah.
I've got, like I say, I'm the youngest of 5. I've got 2 older brothers. They humble you as it is.
Yeah.
You know if you've got any brothers.
oh yeah, I was getting battered by mine.
They humble you as it is. I always kept me in the ground.
Yeah.
But like I say, that the second time I realised, you know what, it wasn't a fluke. I was quite good at this.
Yeah.
And like I say, alhamdulillah, in my amateur career, I won about 10 national titles. So I won English title 10 times, and the GBs about 5-6 times, won European medals, Commonwealth medals, but a world medal, but Olympics, you name it. I did all sorts, and I'm in the pro game, pushing on, and inshallah I get to win plenty world titles in the pro game as well, inshallah.
You're a very different fighter back then, the one to what you are now, though. In terms of
in terms of amateur.
Yeah, amateur, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a change when you go from amateur to pro. Because obviously amateurs, it's mainly 3 rounds. It's more of a sprint in a sense. Even though I did the semi-pro stuff as well because I got to Team GB. I did the WSB, which is 5 rounds. But then when you turn to the pro game, it's 6, 8, 10, 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Obviously, body adjusts to that as well. You've got to take a different mindset into that. But alhamdulillah, like I said, I feel I've finally now settled into the pro game very well, and I look forward to showing that on July 15th, inshallah.
So what are we going to say?
Oh, I was going to say is, so when you went to like doing boxing, did you ever think of like, oh, maybe I should do like MMA as well at the same time, or like?
Weirdly, no, because again, you guys remember, you're around my age. 15, 10 years ago, for example, even 5-10 years ago, how big was the UFC in MMA?
No,
10 years ago, for example, when I was young, you know what I mean, there was no,
there was nothing,
nothing.
Yeah.
So boxing was kind of.
I think I once saw like a VHS.
Exactly.
All of the first UFC, and it was just like a big fat guy. Was like a little skinny guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And the skinny guy beat him because he knew jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And then I was this guy doing lying down on the floor and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There were none of this. MMA was non-existent.
Really, exactly, it was non-existent. So it was more just boxing was kind of it. And don't get me wrong, there was always other things like football and cricket. I was always good at.
Yeah.
But boxing was kind of where
What team do you support?
my heart's at.
What team do you support?
In what?
Football.
To be fair, I don't really support. I'm not really a big.
Don't be diplomatic. Yeah, you do follow a team.
All right, listen. So put it this way, right?
Go on. This is gonna make your break.
This is just me. If you get to know me, but you get to know me better, right? You'll notice I'm a big wind-up merchant, right?
Yeah.
All my family, everyone, supports Liverpool.
Okay.
Who do you think I support? Just to wind them up.
Man United. But do you actually support
To be
Man
fair,
United?
I can't remember. I couldn't tell you the last game I watched. You know what I mean?
Alright, well, just to make you.
But what I did was.
Just to make you. I love your family, by the way.
But what I did.
I love your family.
You're a Liverpool fan, yeah. But what I did was I bought a Man U top.
Yeah, just
Oh man,
I bought a Man U just to wind up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really. Don't get me wrong. There's no one that I've actually. Football team wise, I've actually sat and thought, yeah, I'm going to support these guys. It's just never been really.
When you play football,
I watch football. Yeah, I play a little football. I watch football there and
Yeah,
there.
you're like me. Like I don't really watch football, but when it comes to playing football, I play football.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like.
I'm more of a World Cup European qualifier or European thingy sort of Sport England.
Yeah, Sport England.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because I box for England and GB.
Yeah, I'm gonna
maybe,
say
you know.
because you obviously box and stuff like that. But you know, we went a bit off track there. What were we talking about? We were talking about
MMA.
boxing. No, MMA. Yeah. So you never decided to even.
No.
Think
Like I
about
said,
it.
there were other sports around the corner that, you know. I played little football games on teams and did a lot of football and cricket in school, but never, even a bit of rugby in school, but never really, it was always boxing for me.
Always boxing.
Yeah.
Well, look at it. At the end of the day, I think everybody, not everybody, but the majority of people, they've got talent, right? And I think they're made for that talent. I think with you, I think you found yours now.
See, but like you say, I won my first national title when I was 12. So when I won a national title, I won my next one the year after. When I win national titles year in year out, I'm not really going to look nowhere else, am I?
Yeah.
I realised at that point that, you know what, I'm doing well here, why am I going to go anywhere else?
You know what kind of impression I get? I feel like as in, you didn't have faith in yourself, but your coach did. Your coach clearly saw something. Because they look at, because as a fighter, when you go to the gym, because I'm sure there were a few sessions happening different times, yeah? So you would only focus on yourself, so you'd see yourself and the people you would see, you know, like, you know, who come around about that time. Whereas your coach will see people all the time and has been looking at them for years. So he clearly saw something in you that he obviously stands out. Or the rest, he stands out. So I think your coach should get a lot of credit. For
Yeah,
that.
he put my first coach Martin. He put a lot of confidence in me.
Are you still in good terms with him now as well?
Yeah. Like some of my cousin who first started with him, I was talking to him the other day. And he was on the phone to him and stuff like that. But yeah, like he instilled a lot of confidence in me because you're probably right. I was one of them kids that. Again, before I went to that gym, I didn't know anything about boxing. I didn't know anything. I didn't even watch boxing, let alone the only person I knew that boxed was my cousin.
Yeah.
So I didn't know boxing. I didn't know how good I was until he instilled it in me. And you know, over the years, that kept pushing me, and I kept wanting to perfect my craft. And it's gotten where I am now.
Yeah. So like when you started boxing and stuff like that, you always have someone that you look up to, like an inspiration. Who was your inspiration at that time?
There's obviously my first inspiration was my cousin. Yeah. That was always why I started in the first place. You know what I mean? But then I remember.
By the way, sorry to interrupt. Where is Adnan now with boxing?
He didn't turn pro or anything like that.
Okay.
He had a lot of injuries.
Did you have any fights at all? No?
Not as a pro, but as an amateur.
As an amateur?
Yeah.
Okay,
As
that's
an
fine.
amateur.
So anyway, sorry. So who did you look up to? Sorry, apart from.
So as a May Khan, for example, right, I would tell this story. How I must have been about. If he was 17 when we went to Olympics, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I only must have been about 13. I remember walking to the gym. He'd qualified for the Olympics. There's a magazine called the Boxing News magazine. And obviously he was a sole qualifier. No one else from Team GB had qualified for the Olympics from GB. And he was the sole boxer.
Yeah.
Sorry, the sole boxer, yeah. So I went to the gym that day. On the side of the ring, the magazine's there. My coach came to me, he goes, listen, he's qualified for the Olympics. He's the only boxer to qualify. If he can do it, and he's from Bolton, which is just over an hour away. If he can do it, why can't you? And that kind of always stuck with me. Then when I got on Team GB, followed the same sort of route, that was always a goal of mine. I always remember that day when I sat on the side of the ring with my coach, and he said that to me, he goes, you can do that, and you're good enough. Just put your mind to it and work hard.
So is that the answer to the question then? So it's basically your...
At that stage, 100%, yeah. 100%.
Your inspiration was Amir Khan.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is...
But look, he's the one that opened a lot of doors for people like me.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I started boxing before that, before he opened all the doors. But for people like you see the kids coming through now, he's the guy who opened the doors for the parents, for example. A lot of parents wouldn't let their kids go boxing. And they'd think, oh, there's no career there. Or you'd see him training and you think, oh, what's he doing that for? He's wasting time, get him into a proper job. But he opened the doors for a lot of British Muslims, but British Asians in general, for parents to realise that, listen, there's a route there. There's a route to success there. There's a profession there, and that's why people take it more serious now.
Well, a lot of people don't give him credit, you know, and they kind of slag him off quite a lot, yeah. But like we were discussing this, like, you know, what he's been able to achieve in boxing, you know, and not just as like a Pakistani, like, you know, Asian, English, you know, Pakistani individual. He just in general as a boxer, what he's been able to achieve is absolutely amazing. All the titles he's won, all the big fights he's had, the big level, you know, how decorated his fights were in Vegas, you know, and in New York. I mean, look, like I was saying to Qais, right, to have your picture, massive picture in New York Times Square or in Vegas, in the heart of the city, it's a big thing, man. That's a big deal, man.
What was my reply to that straight away? That's what dreams are made of. That's what we as fighters dream for. And, you know, if we can be in them position like Amir was, then, you know, we're on the right path.
Because in America, obviously, boxing is worshipped, basically, right? In England, it's a bit unfortunate because England hasn't got that kind of a culture that you know, that thing that America's got. And he was literally like the known, he was like a known brand, you know.
Because like say, England's that big.
Yeah.
USA's huge.
Yeah.
And the fans from the USA, and that's what makes boxing what it is over there, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, England itself, or Britain itself, do very well boxing-wise. They've got a few world champions on that as well. But when you have a country that size, the fans that brings, the eyes that brings, and the attention that brings, it's second to none.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 100% I agree. Yeah.
So what about like, did you ever like look at the fighting style of like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson and these people?
Yeah, Muhammad Ali was always one of my biggest inspirations. I was just telling that story about that the Olympics, for example, and that was a certain moment that always stuck in my mind. Like so you forget so many things over the years. There's certain things that stick in your mind, and that was always a massive thing. But yeah, Muhammad Ali is always a huge inspiration, just because of what he did in and outside the ring.
Yeah.
So you got
well, a lot of people talk about what he did outside the ring, and I'm sure everybody's aware of that, like, you know, the charitable person he was and everything. But the thing is, you need, okay, you know, a lot of people don't understand about Muhammad Ali. And I was having a chat with my wife the other day, right? And she was shocked, because she didn't know much about boxing. She was shocked that he was a heavyweight fighter. I said, oh yeah, he was. She goes, yeah, but how come he was like so fast? I said, that's the beauty of Muhammad Ali. I said, he was a heavyweight fighter, so he fought guys that were massive, but he used to move around like you. You know, and
that was the beauty. That was the beauty of his style.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Back then, the heavyweights were a lot smaller.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, you didn't have Tyson Fury.
The way he used to box was beautiful. It was like poetry watching. You know what I mean?
So when he fought like George Foreman, for example.
Yeah.
And like I've seen the whole documentary, right, where they fought him in was it in Africa? They fought in it, yeah. And like he's punching the bag with his left arm, and he's left a big dent. And and then Muhammad Ali goes like, I've got to face this guy tomorrow, right? He's literally been punching that bag constantly for the last God knows how long, and the bag's changed shape.
You know what Foreman was back then? Again, obviously I don't remember much stuff back then live or anything like that. Yeah. I'm too young, but I've seen the documentaries time and time again.
Yeah.
Foreman, everyone was afraid to fight Foreman.
Yeah.
Remember them? How tough fights Ali had with Fraser.
Yeah, yeah.
Foreman knocked Fraser right a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
That showed where how good he was. But again, that
did Joe Frazier beat Muhammad Ali?
I think he beat him once.
Yeah.
Ali beat him badly.
Yeah, and then obviously George Foreman beat Fraser. Joe Frazier, didn't he?
Yeah, Foreman knocked Fraser out.
Yeah, exactly.
Battered him.
Yeah.
Probably battered him. If you watch that fight, it was unbelievable how easily he battered him, right?
Yeah.
Then Ali comes in, older than he has been.
Yeah.
A bit more fatigued in a sense,
Yeah,
body-wise, but the tactics he played there, he let him get tired on purpose, and as soon as he seen the opportunity, took it.
When in Ali's fights, he always used to like whisper in the opponent's ear like, "You fucking dickhead, you know, fuck you." You know what I mean? I'm gonna kick shit out of you.
Is that all he got?
Shit. You know what I mean? Is that all he got? You shit. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, that was
the mind games.
Yeah, mind games. Yeah.
See, that's the thing with Ali. Again, when I mentioned mind games at the start of the podcast, mentally, if he's got into your head, you're going to do things in that fight that you don't normally do.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you might be worried, you might be a bit scared, so you might be a bit tentative, and that split second is all that you need to get someone out there.
Would you say you kind of do a bit of dirty talk with the fighters? Or
you know, I'm one of them people, if someone tried to give it to me, I'd give it back, 100%.
But are you easily wound up though?
Nah.
Because
let me see how lay back I am.
You are, no, because let me tell you one thing about Amir Khan.
Yeah.
I must say is, I found it. He finds it very hard to hide his emotions. You know, when somebody's getting to him, you can tell they're getting to him.
Yeah.
Like the whole Garcia fight when his dad. I think mainly he lost that
that's
fight.
what they were trying to do. They were trying to get to him.
No, but they did though. They did get to him because that shot that Garcia gave him, it was like a blind shot just over the head, and everybody saying, "Oh, it was so tactical." It wasn't tactical. He just he was panicking. He didn't know what to do, and he just threw a punch. Like in a fight, you just throw a punch, and it landed, right? And then after that, obviously the next round or whatever, he wasn't the same because he got such a heavy punch given to him.
No, but you got to
his dad
understand.
got into his head.
Exactly, you got to understand in that fight. The whole point was to get into Amir's head.
Yeah.
Like if you look into it, that fight, Garcia wasn't a better boxing Khan.
Not a chance.
Technically.
Not close.
Khan was outboxing him all day long. Yeah. But he needed Khan to bite. He needed Khan to stay there for 1 second.
Yeah.
And that's actually Garcia's shot. You know the amount of people he knocked out with that shot. That one left up. That's Garcia's danger shot.
Yeah.
And as soon as Amir came in, got into a certain distance, he swung it.
Yeah.
And he swung it from the rafters.
Yeah.
And he caught him clean. And that changed the fight.
But then partially, like I said, his dad, that dirty game that he played, when he was just winding him up, and he was getting wound up. Did you see the whole time Garcia would stay quiet? Garcia, the guy who is fighting, he's quiet the whole time. His dad's not talking for him, and his dad just jumped. And
I believe that was one of the first fights where Amir got on the stage and said, "I'm gonna knock this kid out."
He said what?
"I'm gonna knock him out."
I'm gonna knock him out. You know something? I was genuinely upset.
Yeah,
I know.
I remember we watched it in
it was on a shisha lounge.
the Shisha Lounge. We watched it in Shisha, yeah.
But honestly,
we were pissed off, man.
And you know what annoyed me even more was the guys around there, all Asians.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, he deserves it. He does."
Yeah, that's saying it straight away. They knock you down.
I'm like, you because he's a. you're Asian, he's Asian,
Yeah.
right? You're supposed to follow this guy. Oh yeah, who's got a glass jaw. I'm like, oh my god, why are you not supporting this guy? And you know, or maybe I hung around with dickheads, yeah, but none of them liked him. I don't think it was jealousy. Right?
Yeah, it is
Like,
more
why
than
is
that,
it that this Asian guy, yeah, who's pretty much like me, talks like me, has managed to smash it, and I'm literally where I am on my 9-to-5 job. That's what it
Yeah,
basically
the reason
was.
why he's smashed it because he's boxer,
He's
a good boxer, you know what I mean?
talented boxer.
He's
And you know
boxer,
something? I'm gonna say to you guys, be prepared for that.
Yeah, cause like I said, listen, I've been in the sport long enough.
No, as in be prepared for the people saying stuff.
Oh, anyway, like I said, alhamdulillah, boxing, Olympics, all that sort of stuff. That was huge. And I've always said about boxing, if you can't take criticism, you can't take people to championship, for example, then you're not in the right sport. Because you got to push that aside.
I think you know what? I think you should weigh it out. What's more difficult, getting in a ring with somebody who's trying to knock your head off, or somebody saying words to you? What's worse? I think the words somebody trying to knock your head off. So the other one just take it like take it on the chin, man.
Yeah, like I said, I've boxed for 22 years. 22 years I've been a fighter.
Yeah.
I've had it for a long time.
In fact, have you ever had to deal with anything like that?
Yeah, loads. You get it all the time.
What is it?
Even if it's random fake accounts on Instagram DMing you all the time, man.
Yeah.
What kind of things is it? How interesting.
Anything, you name it.
Was it trying to wind you up and stuff like that?
Yeah, all that.
And how do you react to it, or do you not react to it at all? Just leave it.
Depends, like I say. Like, is it just me being in a public figure, so to speak, in a public eye? I get it not just about boxing or personal life and all sorts. But like I say, you turn a blind eye to it. You think, when you put it in perspective, who cares what some random person thinks? They're not even man or woman enough to use their own accounts, make fake accounts. Who cares about people like that?
No, like when you talk about like the attack your personal life, do they talk about like because obviously you were married, and obviously you went through like a divorce. So do they talk about your divorce and stuff like that?
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So try and make out me as I'm a certain way. But I mean, you get all sorts of people have too much time on their hands, don't they?
Yeah. I know it's a bit of a personal thing, right? But we had a bit of a discussion about this. But like, would you say that your boxing career has a part to play in your relationship that you had?
It's a tough question to be
I'm just trying to establish, right, that how much have you put on the line for this career, that's all.
Listen, everything.
Yeah.
You name it, everything.
Yeah.
But maybe to an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've always said this about relationships, but it's not easy being with a fighter or a professional boxer.
Yeah.
Not because we're going to fight the women, nothing like that. Nothing like that. More because of the sacrifice, the time you need to give to sport. But obviously, you've got to keep in mind that why you're doing it for your family, for your kids. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. All the sacrifice you make, all the hard work is for them at the end of the day, and then doing the best lives for them. But yeah, like I said, I've had all sorts of.
But would you say that? Okay, yeah, of course you are going to be fighting for your family and for your kids, but there is some part of it as well where it is slightly ego driven, because you have to be a bit selfish. You have to be a little bit selfish.
But that's what I mean. That's again, you say selfish, but it's not selfish in the sense that it's all about me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for me. That isn't it. You're being selfish in terms of, I don't know, say something's going on, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
Or so it's hard to explain. But like I say, selfish in the sense that anything I do, you might think it's for myself, and I'm being. It looks like I'm being selfish. I'm doing it for me. Yeah, I am. But the greater achievement and the greater goal is doing it for me. That makes a better life for them.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
So it's like the greater good kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it is difficult because like you can't like at the moment you're prepping for a fight. Yeah, you're in a training camp. So if you were in a relationship and your missus says to you, right, listen, I wanna like today, for example, best example, right? Today's Father's Day, right? So let's say your wife says, you know what, I want to take you on a meal, okay? I want to go to any restaurant, Indian restaurant, travel. Can't do that. Sorry, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. Now that might come across like now it depends on.
But that's exactly what I mean by being selfish.
Yeah.
In the sense that I can't do that.
Yeah.
If I did that, then it's jeopardising my fight. It's jeopardising me making weight.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, for example.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you don't have a partner who's not understanding of that factor, who doesn't understand that I'm doing this for the greater good, I'm doing it actually for your benefit, to be honest, right? If you've got you know, a wife who's not understanding of that factor, then she's going to be like, well, you know what, you're being selfish, right?
Exactly.
I want to do something for you, and I'm extending a nice gesture, and you're turning around and give me the finger.
Yeah.
But really, it's hard for you to explain, to say to this individual that, listen, I'm doing this for you.
100%.
Don't worry, right? You know, when we smashed it, we'll go on all the trips you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll go wherever you want to go. But the thing is though, like, even if you got an individual or a wife that's understanding of that factor and she supports you, how long is she going to support you for? There's going to come to a point where even she's going to be like, you know what, you're kind of taking a piss now, right? You know, you're giving less time to me, and I know it's for the greater good and blah blah blah, but you're giving us less time and you're giving this sport more of the time. And where are you going with it?
Yeah,
Where
exactly that. Like you say, don't get me wrong, my ex-wife, we had our issues, but even now, she does still help quite a lot. Like, for example, like I mentioned before, my son lives with her.
Yeah.
And I have him on the weekends here and there. But she does try her best to make it as easy as possible, because she's seen over the years when we were married what I go through. So I guess females learn from that as well, and they see, wow, look what he's going through there.
Yeah.
Look at the days he's come back, he can't even get out of bed, or his body's killing him, or he's come out with marks, he's come out with cuts, all that sort of stuff. So I guess
You've got like a bit of a nasty scar over there.
We've got plenty of scars from boxing, but I guess it's also, they also realise it over time, you know. But in terms of, like you say, the whole giving time, that is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Which as a man I understand how or why women find that tough, and I believe it takes a special woman to be with a professional athlete in general, let alone a boxer. But like I said, I've got to do what I've got to do for my kid. I mean, I've got to do the best for my family, and that's exactly why I like putting perspective. Obviously, Father's Day today. Next week, a week after, sorry, it's Eid, isn't it?
Yeah.
What if you can't be doing Eid?
Yeah.
I can't eat nothing. I want another bad stuff.
Try that biryani, man. Yeah.
And that's a sacrifice you got to put down. And at the end of the day, it's for that win.
I can't imagine Eid without eating.
That's what I mean. And you guys are from Asian families.
Yeah.
You know how much food's around?
Oh yeah.
Food's everywhere.
Everywhere.
I've got to sit there and think, wow. Sit there thinking,
That looks nice, man.
everyone's eating.
Yeah, but you know what? You just have that goal in mind.
That's it, exactly. You have to. And that's when, I guess in a sense, you have to have that selfish mindset.
Okay, listen, what food do you eat as soon as so once you win the fight, which I have the greatest confidence you are going to, yeah? I'm going to talk about the fight and everything and where you can get the tickets and all that in a second. I know, because you're on a strict diet at the moment, when you win that fight, what's the first thing you're going to eat?
You know, it's weird, because you get certain cravings over time.
Alright.
Like right now, it's weird. I'm not even really a Chinese sort of guy.
Okay.
But the Chinese, my mate took me to once, and this was years ago.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, right? And I said to him the other day, I went, listen, why was that Chinese took that time? And he goes, hey, why? And he goes, and I went, for some reason, this camp's been craving that.
What was it? What food was it?
It was probably Chinese food, egg fried rice,
Alright.
prawns, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
With the curry sauce, but it was
yeah.
nice portion, you know what I mean? With chips and all that sort of stuff as well.
That's not healthy. That's not healthy, man. You can eat that.
To be fair, it's not. But weirdly enough, that's one thing that's been on my mind. This camp.
Yeah.
And I said to Nico, that was years ago. Why is that in your mind? I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I've not been there
So
since.
can't even have it like. It's just. Oh, you know what? Just don't do it, man. I would say just have one cheat day, but don't do it. Because you know something. Look, me and him go to gym, yeah. If we have a cheat day, who cares, right? I'm not competing. I'm not going on stage, right? You're on a different level, bro. You're gonna be fight.
You've got to be strict.
Yeah. Yours a different thing altogether.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
like I say, you have that goal in mind. It's,
so
you're
gonna have the Chinese then after you win the
I
fight.
think that's what's on my mind, yeah. If it's still there by that point, then probably because this craving, I spoke to him about 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So where was that place? So that kind of came from there. So we'll see what happens. We never know. Once you start eating after the weigh-in, for example, then the cravings change anyway. By the time after the fight, I probably won't even be that fussed about what I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
But you never know. Like I say, we'll see what cravings hit.
Yeah. But
I've got a question.
go on, sorry. Go on.
How the hell do you do those two stones? Well, over a stone and a half in 2 weeks. Give me the secret.
Oh, it's tough. It's horrible.
Majority water weight, would you say?
Not all of that, no. Maybe.
Are you pointing at him? Not all of that's water weight. Not all of that's water weight.
No, I mean the two stories mentioned. And that was years ago. Obviously, but I've moved up 2 weights.
Yeah.
2 weights now.
Yeah.
But now I've got 4 weeks to lose less than a stone, which is a bit more doable. I'd say probably 1.5 kilos to 2 kilos of that be water weight.
Right, okay.
So I've got to properly in the 4 weeks lose at least 4 kilos.
And dehydrate yourself, kind of thing.
No, that's 4 kilos of proper weight.
Okay.
The last 1.5 to 2 kilos, that'll be water weight.
It's just strict dieting and. Because I've seen this the video. There's a UFC. Was it a UFC fight? I'm not too sure. Or it might have been a boxer, and he had to lose weight the following day. For the following day, he had to lose a lot of weight, but in America it's in pounds, isn't it? And my God, he would have gone in the sauna, coming out, wrapping himself up, going in the steam room.
Yeah, but you see the MMA fight.
Dead, but you were dead at the end of it.
You know, MMA UFC. What is it? It's 3 5-minute rounds, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah.
The thingy card. You know the main card.
Yeah.
I think they're 5.
5
5-minute rounds, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason they get away with it a bit more. What's 5-minute rounds? How much is that? 25 minutes, isn't it?
No, but listen, I wouldn't put them down, bro. The kind of shit they go through, man.
No, but the reason they get away with the sort of way they make that weight and how much they kill themselves,
Yeah.
like the way you see them crawling up to the scales.
Yeah.
You don't see that in boxing, do you?
Not really, no.
Reason being, boxers can't get away with that. Because think about what we fought. We fought 12 3-minute rounds. Was that 36 minutes?
Yeah.
It's a lot more than they fight. It's a lot more dangerous in that sense. And bear in mind, with them, they do a lot of the wrestling stuff as well.
Yeah.
But boxing, it's just constant punches to your head.
So there's certain times you can lay on the ground and kind of. Like,
exactly, you get away with getting punched in the head, sort of thing. You know
Also,
what I mean?
you know what I've noticed as well, and it's happened so many times in UFC. Like the amount of times that I feel like the drug testing is not taken that seriously. You know, with the MMA.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about UFC. I'm talking about like there's ONE FC. There's quite a few. I feel like their drug testing is not really that strict, or maybe it is, but it's not though. Like boxing is really, really strict.
Really strict, yeah.
Right, like they find any kind of a drug in your body which is like a diuretic kind of thing. But that's it, mate. You're gone. I mean, obviously the best example is Amir Khan. He got caught with some SARMs in the system, but guess what? It was such a small amount. It was fractions of a fraction, which literally, I'm not even joking, and this is actually true. Yeah, what they found in his body, if somebody were taking that and they had sweat on their hands, and if he was warm as well, and if they shook his hand, it is very possible that it can't be quantified how small it was, and they found it in his blood. Right. I'm not saying he did take some. I'm not saying he didn't take some, but most likely I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I don't think he did.
But even Kell Brook said after the fight, this is a few months after. I read it not long back. He said, he goes, you saw the way he performed.
Yeah.
Whatever he did, it always didn't enhance his performance anyway.
Yeah.
So he don't think he took it for that reason. He goes, listen, at the end of the day, if he's going to take something, he takes something that's going to make perform unbelievable. But you saw the way he performed.
Yeah, shocking.
So whatever it was, it must have been by accident because it didn't help him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a bit of a shocking fight. And you know what's going to be shocking for me? If you don't perform.
No,
I'm telling you now, I'm gonna be genuinely gutted,
like I said, like what I mentioned before, the fight's been postponed, which gives me more time to train.
Yeah.
I was ready to go. I'm meant to fight next weekend.
Yeah.
I was ready to fight then, but it's giving me more time to.
So once again, what's the date on the fight? The 15th of July. So the fight's going to be actually televised on DAZN. DAZN TV, right? Okay.
The fight's in Newcastle.
It's in Newcastle.
Virtual Motors Arena.
Right, Virtual Motors Arena. Yeah, it's all over. I mean, it's on your Instagram. What we're going to do, obviously, in the description, we're going to put down, obviously, your Instagram and everything is all going to be there. Also, where you can buy the tickets as well.
Yeah.
We're going to put on there as well. And more importantly, any sponsors.
Yeah.
Right, because there's obviously a lot, like this is what makes the fighter and stuff like that. If there's anybody out there, guys, who's willing to sponsor Qais, sponsor the fighters, put in, whatever you can help, lights flickering, whatever, right? We can help in that way as well. If you click onto the description, and we can obviously.
Yeah, like I said, sponsors help massively. Sponsors can help me to be able to be a full-time professional boxer. On top of that, big fights like these on DAZN TV, on TV around the world, it's great exposure for them as well. So hopefully you'll get on the.
I mean, anybody that puts in a sponsor is going to be great promotion for them as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, it's good to like support young aspiring fighters, because I genuinely feel you're gonna get there.
Inshallah.
I think you are, and I think you're kind of there anyway. To be honest, but, you're only going to get further, and then that person can say, "Listen, I was the guy that sponsored him."
Sponsored by BobzyBounce.
But I think we'll leave it there. All the best. we want to have you on a podcast again
Yeah, of course.
after you win the fight.
Inshallah.
100% when you win the fight. And I want to go through.
We'll put the belt there, yeah.
What's that?
We'll put the belt
Oh
there.
my god. Oh, that'd be
That's a good
amazing.
idea.
That'd be amazing. The belt's gonna go there, man. So this space here is gonna be cleared. Forget these cans, yeah?
We're not sponsored by Miranda.
I might be able to drink a few of them by then.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'll bring you Chinese.
No problem.
I'll bring you
Perfect.
Chinese.
Perfect.
Right? So, yeah, guys, we'll leave it there. All the best to you, Qais.
Thank you
I think
very
you're
much.
gonna smash it at the fight. Everybody is waiting in anticipation. Watch the fight. Once again, guys, 15th. What time is the fight gonna be on?
I'm not sure exact time, but I'm co-main event, so one fight before main event. So
So one fight before the main event.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, looking forward to that, guys. So yeah, guys, what you need to do is follow Qais on his. You got a TikTok, haven't you, as well now?
I have, yeah.
He's not been that active on TikTok.
I need to get more active
I'm
on
trying
it,
to push it to
yeah.
go in that
You're,
direction.
you're the guy to make that get me more active on there.
You are gonna, man, 100%. And obviously, with everything you're doing at the moment, I think you're gonna do very well. But on Instagram, and if you want to watch the fights, go on YouTube. All you got to just type your name in, and all the fights come up over there. And like I said, all the best.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You are gonna win.
Inshallah.
Right, guys. Anyway, guys, till next time. Actually, hang on. Before we go, anything you want to add to this?
Like I said, listen, I appreciate all the help from you guys. I appreciate all the support and even the sponsors.
Or to all your fans?
Yeah, all the fans, like I say, I appreciate all the support over the years. I've been doing this a long time, 22 years. I'm looking forward to winning this title and moving on to big things on the route to many world titles, inshallah.
Have no doubt you're going to get there, man. Right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Till next time, this is BobzyBounce
Signing out.
signing out.